I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Armando Sanchez, who is the Executive Director of HEART. Armando, welcome.
Hi.
Please tell our viewers what HEART is an acronym for, and then jump right into what the organization is all about.
Okay, well, HEART stands for the Housing Endowment and Regional Trust of San Mateo County. What HEART essentially is an investment fund. We raise money from private and public sources, the public sources being the cities, the county, and the state, and private sources being corporations, foundations, businesses, and individuals who can donate to HEART. And what we do then is we invest that money in new affordable housing developments.
Okay.
We also have a first-time homebuyer program that provides down payment assistance loans to moderate income buyers in San Mateo.
And when you talk about this assistance to build affordable housing, is it in the form of loans always, or do you actually grant money to help build these affordable units within a housing development?
You know, they both.
Okay.
You know, they're always structured as loans for security purposes, but some of them are actually grants. You know, HEART puts the money into a project and it sits there for 55 years, and essentially you might get some residual payments on it, but for all intents and purposes, it's a long-term funding commitment to a project. We also do short-term loans that are more than 2 years, and quite honestly, these short-term loans are really the prime product that we offer. And the reason for that is that, you know, if we fund the startup of new housing developments. Most of the other lenders or funders that provide money to affordable housing don't like to do it in the early stages because it's a risky proposition.
The more conventional lenders.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Because it's a risky proposition. A project may not go forward. HEART in part was created to bridge that gap, to be the
You're
catalyst.
that angel funder.
Exactly. That comes in the early stage, takes a bigger risk. You know, we do our due diligence to make sure the projects will go forward, but we come in at the early stage and provide that funding. And that funding is critical because what it pays for is the initial work, such as studies to see, you know, what's going to fit there, design the project, go to this before the city council and get the project entitled. Once the project gets through that phase, then it's much easier for the other funders to come in and provide the deep subsidies that will create the affordable housing project.
So is HEART an organization that people come to when they've got sort of a project designed or visioned, or are you actually going in the communities and looking for opportunities as well?
You know, we've been around for 10 years, and it has primarily been, the model has primarily been that people come to us.
Okay.
You know, over the 10 years that we've existed, we've lent about $14 million to help create 950 affordable housing units. I'm trying to change, working with the board, trying to change a little bit of what HEART does. I want us to be catalysts to create these projects, to come in early and give them shape. You know, for example, one of the things I'm working on right now is school districts can now create teacher housing. So I'm working with the board to explore the idea of potentially helping school districts in some fashion. So that would be more as a catalyst to create these projects to occur.
Well, I knew the affordable housing conversation has changed actually over the last 10 years in the sense that cities lost redevelopment agencies, which was one of the primary funds that cities had in order to pay into affordable housing developments. So HEART's job has become even more significant. I mean, your reason for existence has become more significant to cities. Tell us a little bit about the complexities of this when people say, why aren't they building more affordable housing?
Well, you know, right now, the reason that really comes down to the availability of land. Land is so expensive. Any piece of property that comes into the market, our nonprofit partner developers like Bridge Housing, Mid-Peninsula Housing, simply cannot react fast enough and gather the money to purchase some of these properties that are going to be very expensive. And then you have high construction costs on top of that. So it's a little bit prohibitive for them in some cases, but I think HEART's role, if we can raise enough money, you know, our hope is that we can make them competitive and go into the market and buy these properties. So as I said, the number one reason is the availability of land. You have to be patient. There's a project in East Palo Alto right now that Mid-Penn is constructing. It's 41 units of senior housing. You know, HEART made a loan to EPA Can Do. several years ago to buy 3 parcels, and those 3 parcels basically sat with EPA Can Do for many years until 2 additional parcels became available, and then MidPen came into the picture to get the project started. So sometimes it requires land assembly that could take a couple of years to do it, and you have to have patient capital, and that's why I think HART is an important partner in this development, because HART has the ability to put money into projects and be patient and take a risk that something will happen down the line. So that's an important element that we play.
Well, and with your 10-year longevity, right, you've seen a lot of these economies increase and decrease. You've seen a lot of land issues come forward for each of the different communities, right? And every time you work with the city, it's a very different prospect than it is from the next city next door, right? I mean, there's all sorts of different regulatory environment.
There is. Several cities on the peninsula have a history of being very supportive of affordable housing.
Right.
I have seen very brave city councils, in some cases stand up to community opposition that opposes a project, not because it is being built, but simply because it is affordable housing.
And it's the right thing to do.
And it's the right thing to do. So we have a lot of very brave city councils, and you really have to give credit to them. The financing is important, but nothing gets done without the support of the city councils.
Let's go back and talk a little bit about your first-time homebuyer program. So we sort of focused on that affordable housing aspect of it, but your loans for your first-time homebuyer program.
Yeah, our board, was concerned that if you don't make a lot of money, that there's at least some options for you in these apartment buildings. And if you have a lot of money, you compete in the market, but what about the people in the middle?
Right.
So they created this loan program. Anyone who makes $150,000 or less and can put down a 5% down payment can come to HART and get a 15% loan, which is roughly around $117,000.
Right, to bridge that gap.
To bridge that gap, and then they have the ability to go to a bank and get an 80% loan, which is a conventional loan, and buy a property. So that product is available right now. We have money for that. Unfortunately, there are very few units that exist that they can buy because it's not going to be, even with our assistance, they're not going to be able to go out there and buy a $1.2 million home.
Right.
They have to buy a modest condominium somewhere in the $700,000 to $850,000 range.
And as you said, that rarely exists in San Mateo County.
There's a little bit more now than there has been over the past couple of years, but it still takes a lot of work and perseverance from the buyers too.
So if we had viewers watching this program and they felt like they might be qualified for this first-time home buyer program, do they just visit your website, give you a call? How do they get access?
Yes, I think the best thing, the best thing to do is to go to our website and click on home buyer loans.
Okay.
That'll provide some basic information. We also do first-time home buyer seminars. We just had 3 throughout the county. We probably won't do one for a couple of months, but for sure in the spring we'll have some people. But that doesn't. Buyers can call us anytime, and we will speak to them and tell them about the process.
So the main thing is just jump on the website, read the information, then give you a call and figure out if they may be a candidate for something.
Exactly.
Great.
Yes.
So we just have about a minute left. What are the kinds of things that you want to make sure that the community knows about HART, and how do we get involved, or how do we use HART to identify affordable housing communities?
Yeah, again, we're except for our first-time home buyer loan, we are not a direct service providers, but we do try to raise money from the public. We have a donate button on our website that people can always click and make small donations. They make a big difference to us. They can be supportive of housing projects that come up in their community.
I think that's important. When
it is.
People hear that there's whether it's in my city or not, like for example, I just learned about the East Palo Alto project, your senior project. It's important for me to get out of my chair and to go support that project in East Palo Alto.
It is, and if you don't have time to go to city council meetings, letters are always good. You can always write to them. You could do, it's like absentee voting. You can always send in that letter. And now that you mentioned the Palo Alto, right now, if seniors are interested in that project, they should immediately call MidPen because they have a way. They're taking names for the interest list.
Oh, great.
And so they should really call now. And
I think you said that was 40 units.
41 units of senior affordable housing.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity.
So if you feel like you know someone or are someone that could qualify for that age of housing, then make sure that you get a hold of HART and
Exactly.
and contact you.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much, Armando. We are out of time already, but I hope you'll come back and tell us a little bit more about Heart and some of the other projects that you have going on up and down the peninsula.
We'd be glad to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.